You're listening to the OUTLoud podcast, hosted by Dakota Outright, www.dakotaoutright.org. Welcome to the OUTLoud podcast. My name is Jen, and co-hosting with me today is Carrie.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, so what have you been up to lately, Carrie?
I attended the Solidarity Saturday the other day and got to listen to Erin Oban speak about what was going on in the legislature this last session and what she thought was good, bad, and ugly there. And there was also a local reverend who was there, and she's trying to organize a group of progressive pastors and get together and do more progressive things in the community.
Nice. So if you're not familiar, Solidarity Saturdays is a monthly gathering of community organizations and people who are just working towards some common goals that probably fall under like social justice work. And the next meeting, when are they getting together next?
June 20th at 1 p.m. at the Dakota Resource Council.
Okay, so that's right during Pride, so make sure that you go to Solidarity Saturday and then come back to Custer Park. So what else are we going to be talking about today on the show?
We have a great episode today. We'll talk about what's going on for Capital Pride next month. We're going to talk about relationships, and we'll hear a new Strength Through Stories.
Awesome. So as a reminder, you can hear the OUTLoud podcast in a few different places. We air the third Wednesday of every month on URL Radio, so just go to urlradio.net. And then you can also hear us on The Mix, which is Bismarck State College's student-run radio. They run us a few different times during the week, so just go to bscmysticmedia.com. And then you can find us on YouTube. Just search for Dakota Outright. And then just remember to share the podcast with your friends, family, and neighbors.
And to learn more about Dakota Outright and how you can get involved, go to our website, dakotaoutright.org, or you can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/Dakota Outright.
We're going to the Derby, and we want you to sit with us, have some fun, and meet other members of the Dakota Outright community.
Purchase your tickets online through us at dorgoestothederby.eventbrite.com. Adults are $10, and kids' tickets are free.
The event's happening on Saturday, May 30th. Check in with our table at the VFW Sports Center, and we'll direct you to our reserved seating area. Learn more on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Dakota Outright. So, Carrie, we're about like a month out from Capitol Pride, which is really exciting. And so why did we move it to June? It used to be in August.
To be more in line with the National Pride Month.
Nice. And I think that'll be good because it's really nice to get that national exposure, and it's just kind of a nice boost to all the stuff we're doing. So actually something new for this year, we're doing a pre-kickoff to Pride, and that's going to actually happen on Sunday, June 14th. We're doing something really exciting with our friends at Laughing Sun Brewing. We're doing a beer, trivia, and cult film night. So that's happening from 4 to 8 p.m., and we're going to provide appetizers because, you know, it's tough. It's on a Sunday. Like, Fireflower is going to be closed, so we want to make sure people get enough food to eat and kind of hang out with us. And then we're going to do trivia before and after the movie, and we're going to be able to announce the film soon. We're still just waiting on some final details, but it's definitely going to be a cult classic. And then something really fun that's going on with this event is the guys at Laughing Sun are making a beer just for Pride, and that's fun in and of itself, but we're doing a beer naming contest. So just go on our Facebook page or on dakotaoutright.org, and you can submit, each person can submit up to 3 entries. And so what we're going to do is collect those through June 5th, and then we're going to take those to the Dakota Outright board, and we're going to vote. And the winner will get, you get a prize pack of new merchandise. But then you also get, I think, just the notoriety that comes with being clever. You know, you're going to be like your entry won, and so I think that's really the main prize there. But so what's happening the first day of Pride?
We're going to have the Riverboat Social Cruise. It begins at 8:30 p.m. It'll be a 2-hour cruise. And we have music on the upper level with Trampus Johnson and Brian Gray, and also with Chris Kitko. And we'll have trivia and music on the lower level. And then we'll have appetizers provided. And there'll be a cash bar. And then there's an after party on the dock. And you can get your tickets online.
And that Riverboat Cruise, that's on Friday, June 19th, right? So like the first official day of the real Pride weekend. And then on Saturday, we're doing again Pride in Custer Park. And that's just really a great community event that's family friendly and in a public space. And we had, I think, more than 500 people come through last year. The changes for this year, we're moving it to 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we'll still have a lot of vendors with products. We'll have community groups, and we're actually still taking vendors. So if you sell stuff, if you make stuff, if it's food or jewelry or products or anything, just get in touch with us. You can email, contact us at dakotaoutright.org, and we'll get you the information you need. And then we're also going to have entertainment, and we're doing a little different this year. We're trying to give you a little bit more music and just some kind of create a nice chill out atmosphere. So starting at 11:30, Chris Kitko is going to play for us, and she's going to MC our pet parade that will start at 1 o'clock. And I can't wait for that personally, Carrie. I don't know about you, but I think...
Yeah, they're always fun.
And we have new Pride merch, so you can deck out your dogs and or cats in little neckties. We have some collars and leashes, so if you don't have the right goods for the pet parade, we can help you out. And then at 1:30, we'll have more music with the Swentones. And then you want to finish out the schedule?
At 3 o'clock, we're going to be having the drag contest that I'll be hosting. And then the prize will be tickets from URL Radio, and we'll announce what those tickets will be soon. And then from 3:30 to 5, you'll be listening to Gravel and Glass.
Nice. And then we're also going to have Laughing Sun is going to be set up that day with a beer garden. And for those of you who do not like their beer, they're also going to be selling root beer, so for the family. And then we're also going to have a bunch of kids' games and activities, and I think some arts projects. So there'll be like a nice mix of stuff out there that day.
And that evening, we'll have the Dakota Divas and Drag Pride Edition. It'll be at the Bismarck Event Center Exhibition Hall, and the doors will open at 7 p.m. You can buy your tickets online and skip the line, or we'll have tickets available at the door. There's also an amateur drag contest starting at 8 p.m. that night, and I'll be hosting that as well. And you can register online at www.dakotaoutright.org. You have to pick 2 songs plus a song in case you win. The winners will be the royalty on our July 4th parade float or whatever we end up doing with that.
That's really exciting. And so tickets are $15 and it's 18 plus with ID. And then on Sunday, June 21st, we're going to have an interfaith service again at the Unitarian Universalist in Bismarck, and that will begin at 9 a.m.
And then later that afternoon, we'll be having a free movie screening and panel discussion at Dakota Stage Limited. We're still confirming the film, so we'll let you know what's going on with that.
Awesome. And then other new stuff to look for this year, we have a ton of new merchandise coming, including, I mentioned the stuff for your pets, but we also have mohawk wigs and a whole bunch of new stickers and some jewelry and even some stuff just for summer, like some rainbow flip-flops, and, you can pretty much be decked out in rainbow from head to toe if that's something you like to do. We can help you. And then we're also going to be launching during Pride this year our membership, so we're excited to get to share with you how you can be a supporting member of Dakota Outright. And then we'll have the Pride Guide, which is a publication that details all of the schedule, and it'll have all of our vendors listed for Pride in Custer Park. That'll be coming out within the next week or so.
And we like to thank our Capital Pride sponsors that help us put on the Capital Pride Fest. URL Radio, the Bismarck Mandan Unitarian Universalist Congregation, BSC Embracing Diversity Committee, Dakota Stage, and Laughing Sun Brewing Company.
So we're starting something fun and new on the Dakota Outright Out Loud podcast, and that's something called Relationships Out Loud, relationship advice for the LGBT spectrum. And I want to preface this, Carrie. The definition of an advice giver is simply someone who has asked for advice, right?
I would agree with that.
It's we're all experts in our own lives, and chances are we've had some experiences that may help other people. So how are we going to be getting questions for this segment?
You can email your questions to dakotaoutright@gmail.com, and you can ask us anything about dating or family or friendships, or you can use the form on the website under the podcast page, and upcoming episodes will feature your questions and our advice.
Nice. So that'll be fun. So send in your questions. If you use the form online, you can be anonymous in case, there's just something exceptionally awkward that you need to ask us. It's okay. So talking about relationships, Carrie, why is it so hard to meet people? Especially if you identify within the LGBT spectrum.
Because it's just not completely socially acceptable to be out. So some people have a more difficult time just being out and, finding people who are also out and, hooking up, basically.
Yeah, I think it's hard, 'cause in a state where there's still no protections, the whole general environment, a lot of people are out. And I think I see that a lot with, younger people. They just make it seem so easy, and that makes me feel like maybe I'm getting old. But I think, depending on where you're at in your life with, your job, if certain things are still at risk for you, you might not just walk up to someone that you're interested in, and just put it all out there, but I don't know. What are some ways, like, how have you met people?
The internet's a wonderful place to, start meeting people. I also just, go out and socialize a lot, and people talk, and you eventually find things out about people, and they put off certain vibes and stuff. So it does, come out eventually if you get to know the people.
I know one thing we were talking about, like, now I think it's way more socially acceptable to meet people online now, and I think that's great because, like, you meet people everywhere, and we're online so much in all these other parts of our lives, like with social media, that I think it makes sense. It's just like another way. But the great thing about, like, a lot of the dating websites, like, they have a lot more, they're getting better at having, like, a lot of different identities available for people to choose. And so I think it's getting easier for people to self-identify as being LGBT.
I would agree with that.
And so, like, in real life, like, offline, I was thinking about, I think some of the best ways to meet people are to, like, get involved in activities. And that's one reason I think we push, like, get involved with the Dakota Outright, because that's, like, one of the easiest ways that you can meet other people, who identify in a similar way. And, we're trying to do a lot more to bring people together, like, in social spaces, because we kind of need to be out there and a little bit more visible. And I think if everyone, it all comes back to outness, like the more out you can be in your life, the more that helps, like, other people within the community too. So what are some of the biggest challenges, do you think, of being in an LGBT relationship?
Again, just being out in the community and things like that. If, your partner may or may not be able to be out and things like that. So those can definitely come in the way. Otherwise, also with people, having rude and snide comments and things like that, if you're holding hands in public or anything like that. So there's just lots of challenges just socially.
Yeah, like, I think acceptance from the family, like, at what point is the right point to, if you're not even out to your family, like, how do you work toward being open with your relationship, like, with your family? Because ideally, I don't think anyone wants to separate out those parts of their life, and, like, you can never bring your partner over for holidays or things like that. But no, so this is a good discussion. I think this is some of the things that we'd like to talk about with the Relationships Out Loud. So again, just email your questions or go online and you can ask anonymously. So we look forward to hearing from you.
Dakota Outright is looking for vendors for this year's Pride in Custer Park celebration, happening on Saturday, June 20th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We welcome crafters, food vendors, community organizations needing to do outreach, and any business wanting to make a public statement of support. Capitol Pride 2015 will be on June 19th through the 21st in Bismarck, Mandan. Register soon at www.dakotaoutright.org.
So that's our show. Remember to submit your questions for the relationship advice segment. And also, we look forward to seeing you at Capitol Pride.
And next month, we're going to get behind-the-scenes look at Capitol Pride. We're going to visit with some musicians, check on our custom beer at Laughing Sun, and maybe even talk to a drag queen or two.
Coming up next is the closing segment of the OUTLoud podcast, Strength Through Stories.
Storytelling builds human connection. Long throughout history, stories have been the way knowledge has been shared, wisdom imparted, and great truths revealed to both listeners and storytellers themselves. Strength Through Stories is our way to connect with others about the human experience. We hope these stories will let others know that they are not alone, that things do get better, and that change is possible. Our storyteller this episode is Dr. Anne-Marie Kayinsky from Bismarck. Her story is titled, How I Learned Not to Disappear.
When I was attending college in the early 1970s, a professor had recently returned from England where she'd conducted some research on the Brontes, authors of Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights, the Brontes, Emily, Anne, Charlotte, and their brother Branwell. In talking about her visit to the Hayworth parsonage, the professor said at one point, "And poor Branwell, growing up in a household with 3 sisters, it's a wonder he didn't turn into a homo." I was puzzled by her comment. Was she implying that the only son in a family of daughters or the only daughter in a family of sons could suddenly or eventually change from being heterosexual to homosexual? At the same college, one of my classmates in human sexuality announced to the class that his semester project would focus on murderers, rapists, and homosexuals. I was puzzled by his comment. Why was I being clumped with the likes of murderers and rapists? Around this time, I started dating a woman who wanted to know why we were lesbians. My answer, because we were born this way, was not acceptable. She wanted to know what traumatic event had occurred in our lives. Traumatic, such as growing up as the only girl in a family of boys, or having been raped at a young age, or the best one, we simply hadn't met and slept with the right man. We didn't date for very long. Some years later, my partner died tragically. Months passed before her mother said to me she believed her daughter was actually bisexual instead of homosexual. The mother still could not accept the fact that her daughter and I had spent the last 8 years in a loving, healthy, monogamous lesbian relationship. Thinking that her daughter had actually been half heterosexual made the homosexual part sound somewhat palatable. Regardless of whether such comments are said in an institute of higher learning or come from a friend or from mass media, these comments, attitudes, beliefs remain unenlightened. Long story short, in spite of what everyone said and thought, and in spite of everything I was being taught, I did not turn into a murderer or a rapist. I continued to be strong. I did not fade away. I did not compromise. I did not disappear. On the contrary, I remained true to myself, as each of us must.
Everyone has a story to share, and sharing stories gives us strength. The OUTLoud podcast is looking for more submissions for our Strength Through Stories series. Could it be yours? Email contact us at dakotaoutright.org to participate.